The great alien council hall was larger than any city Ethan Cole had ever seen. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into blue light. Tall pillars made of living crystal glowed softly, changing color with every sound. Alien guards stood in perfect lines, their armor sharp and unfamiliar. Their eyes never blinked. Ethan stood alone in the center. No weapon, no armor, no protection. He was a human, standing before the most powerful alien empire in the sector. The silence was heavy. Too heavy. Humans had come to ask for peace. Earth was weak after years of war. The alien empire was strong, ancient, and proud. This meeting was Earth's last chance. Ethan kept his back straight. He remembered his training. Do not show fear, but fear was there, high above him. On a throne shaped like a rising flame sat Queen Zira. She was beautiful in a dangerous way. Her skin shimmered like silver glass. Her eyes were deep violet, sharp and cold. A crown of energy floated above her head, moving slowly like it was alive. She watched Ethan as if he were a puzzle or prey. A low voice echoed through the hall. "Human representative," the translator said, its tone flat and emotionless. "State your purpose." Ethan took a slow breath. "I am Commander Ethan Cole of Earth," he said clearly. "I stand here on behalf of my people. We seek peace, we seek alliance. We do not wish for war." Whispers moved through the hall. The alien nobles leaned toward each other. Some looked amused. Others looked angry. Queen Zira did not move. "Peace," she repeated slowly. "Humans speak this word often." She rose from her throne. The temperature in the hall dropped. "Words are easy," the queen said. "Promises are weak." She stepped forward. Each step echoed like thunder. "Many races came before you," she continued. "They bowed, they smiled, they swore loyalty." Her eyes hardened. "They betrayed us." The hall darkened as images appeared in the air. Burning worlds, broken ships, dead cities. Ethan felt his chest tighten. The queen raised her hand. The images vanished. "Loyalty must be proven," she said. Ethan nodded. "We are ready to prove our loyalty," he replied. The queen stopped. For the first time, she smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Very well," she said. "Then you will follow our custom." She turned and addressed the council. "According to ancient law," she declared, "a guest species seeking alliance must offer a bond." The translator paused. Then the words appeared in the air before Ethan. "Only mating can convince her." The hall exploded with sound. Alien voices rose in excitement and shock. Some laughed. Some watched Ethan closely. Ethan froze. His heart pounded. In his ears. Mating? He forced himself to remain calm, but inside, his thoughts raced. This was not diplomacy. This was humiliation. Or worse. The queen's eyes never left him. "This bond," she said, "is not pleasure, it is proof." She moved closer. "To mate with the queen is to offer your life, your future, your truth." Her voice dropped. "Most species cannot survive." Ethan swallowed. The human delegation confirmed his worst fear through the translator feed. No human has ever faced this ritual. No records of survival. If he refused, Earth would be marked as an enemy. If he accepted, he might never return. "Think carefully, human," Queen Zira said softly. "Refusal means war." The guards shifted their weapons. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of Earth, of blue skies and oceans, of cities full of life, of people who would never know how close they were to destruction. He thought of fear. Then he thought of duty. He opened his eyes. "I need to ask one question," Ethan said. The queen raised an eyebrow. "Speak. Is this ritual forced," he asked, "or is it chosen?" A quiet murmur moved through the hall. The queen studied him. "True loyalty," she said slowly, "cannot be forced." Ethan nodded. Then, in a clear and steady voice, he said the words no one expected. "If my choice can save my people," he said, "then I accept." The hall fell silent. Even the guards stopped moving. Queen Zyra stared at him. For the first time, something changed in her eyes. Not desire, not anger, interest, double quotes brave, she whispered. Or foolish. She turned away. Prepare the chamber, she commanded. As the guards approached Ethan, he felt fear return, but he did not step back, because humans did not survive by being fearless. They survived by standing anyway, and somewhere deep within the alien empire, a test had begun. The chamber was silent after the human was taken away. Queen Zyra remained standing, her hands behind her back. The council watched her closely. Too closely. She could feel their thoughts. Why did she choose him? Why allow a human this honor? Zyra did not turn. End this session, she said coldly. The council obeyed, but not willingly. As they left, their glowing eyes followed her, full of doubt and anger. When the hall was empty, the queen finally allowed herself to breathe. She had not expected the human to accept. Most species begged. Some cried. Others attacked in fear. But the human had stood still and chosen. That disturbed her more than refusal ever could. Far below the palace, Ethan was escorted through long silver corridors. The walls moved like liquid metal, forming paths. As he walked, alien guards surrounded him, silent and watchful. His hands were not bound. That was worse. If this was a prison, it would be simple. But this felt like preparation. Ethan's mind raced. What kind of ritual needs this much secrecy? Why did the queen hesitate before ordering it? He remembered her eyes. Not cruel, not kind, just tired. High above, Queen Zyra entered a private chamber. The walls darkened instantly. Ancient symbols lit up, responding only to her presence. She stood alone now. No council. No guards, no lies. She placed her hand on a glowing stone. Images filled the air. Her world, long ago, cities burning. Allies, turning their weapons against her people. Treaties broken in a single night. She had been young then. A princess who believed in words. That belief had cost billions of lives. We will never trust again, she whispered. The loyalty ritual was born that day, not as tradition, not as protection. If a species could not offer everything, then they were not worth trusting. Yet this human, he had not begged. He had not demanded. He had asked a question. Is it chosen? No one had ever asked that before. Elsewhere in the palace, the council gathered in secret. This is madness, hissed Counselor Varrock, his scales glowing red. A human bonding with the queen? He could weaken her, another said. Or worse, influence her. The ritual was meant to fail, Varrock snapped. No outsider survives it, but what if he does? A third voice whispered. Silence followed. Then Varrock smiled. Then we make sure he doesn't. Ethan was brought into a quiet room. Simple, clean, almost human. A single platform stood in the center. Soft light filled the space. An alien attendant spoke gently through the translator. This chamber prepares the mind, it said. Fear must be controlled. Ethan sat down slowly. Tell me something, he said. Has anyone ever survived this? The attendant paused. Few, it answered. None from your species. Ethan nodded. That's honest, he said. When the attendant left, Ethan leaned back and closed his eyes. For the first time since arriving, his calm cracked. What if this is a mistake? What if Earth chose the wrong man? He thought of home again. Then something else surprised him. He thought of the queen, alone on her throne, surrounded by enemies who called themselves allies. Guess we're both standing alone, he whispered. Queen Zyra watched the preparation. Through a hidden display, she should have felt power. Instead, she felt doubt. The ritual would connect minds, briefly, deeply. She would see his memories, his fears, his truth, and he would see hers. That was the real danger. If he was weak, he would break. If he was cruel, she would end him, but if he was different, a warning light flashed. Unauthorized council override detected, and an I voice announced. Zera's eyes sharpened. They are moving early, she said. The council feared the unknown, and the human was exactly that. Guards suddenly rushed into Ethan's chamber. Their weapons were active. What's happening? Ethan demanded. Before anyone could answer, the room shook slightly. An alarm echoed through the palace far above. Queen Zera turned toward the ritual chamber. If they think I will be controlled, she said coldly, they have forgotten who rules. She began to move, not as a queen, but as a survivor. Ethan was pushed forward. Confusion and danger closing in around him. He did not know it yet, but the ritual was no longer the only test. Trust was, power was, and the galaxy itself was about to change. The ritual chamber was older than the palace itself. It was hidden deep beneath the throne, carved into black stone that did not reflect light. Strange symbols covered the walls, slowly moving like they were alive. The air felt heavy, as if the room was breathing. Ethan stepped inside. The doors sealed behind him. With a deep echo, he was alone. At the center of the chamber stood a circular platform. Thin lines of blue energy moved across its surface, like calm water before a storm. This is it, Ethan whispered. He had expected chains, guards, fear. Instead, the room felt quiet. Too quiet. High above, Queen Zera entered from the opposite side. Her presence caused the symbols to glow brighter. The chamber recognized her. She stopped when she saw the human. For a moment, neither spoke. This place judges truth, she said at last. Not strength, not desire, Ethan nodded. Then it's fair, he replied. Zera studied him. Most beings trembled in this chamber. The human did not. Outside the chamber, far from their sight, the council watched through hidden systems. The bond will expose him, Counselor Varrock said. If not, we will end it ourselves. Their plan was simple. If the human survived the mental link, they would overload it. The queen must never fully trust an outsider. Inside, Zera raised her hand. The platform activated. This bond is not what your translators described, she said calmly. Ethan frowned. Then why call it mating? Because for my people, she replied, to share the mind is more intimate than the body. The platform pulsed. This will connect our thoughts, Zera continued. You will see my past, I will see yours. She paused. Many break when faced with their own truth. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform. So will you, he said softly. For the first time, the queen smiled, just a little. The energy rose. Light wrapped around them like a storm. Ethan felt pressure in his head. Memories rushed forward without control. Earth. Blue skies. Crowded cities. Soldiers standing together, afraid but determined. XY gasped. She saw humans fighting among themselves, and still choosing to protect the weak. She saw failure. Loss. Hope that refused to die. Ethan, at the same time, saw her world fall apart. Friends turning into enemies. Trust ending in fire. A queen born from betrayal. Pain flooded them both. Outside, alarms flashed. The bond strength is rising, an aide warned. Varrock snarled. Increase the load. No, another said. The queen is fully linked. Varrock's eyes hardened. Do it. Inside the chamber, the pressure doubled. Ethan fell to one knee. Zera cried out as ancient. Fear returned. This was not part of the ritual. Someone was interfering. Ethan felt it instantly. This is wrong, he said through the pain. Zera turned toward him, shocked. You can tell? My people learned to survive chaos, he replied. This feels like sabotage. She believed him. That decision would change everything. Ethan forced himself to stand. He focused on one thought. Choice. Not orders. Not fear. Choice. The energy around him stabilized. The chamber reacted. The system rejected the overload. Outside, Varek shouted in rage as controls went dark. That's impossible, he hissed. The bond ended suddenly. Silence crashed into the chamber. Ethan collapsed, breathing hard. Zyra steadied herself, staring at him in disbelief. You should be broken, she said quietly. So should you, Ethan replied. But you're still standing. The Queen looked at the human in a new way, not as a test, not as a threat, but as something her empire had not seen in centuries. An equal. Far above, the Council realized their mistake. The bond had not destroyed trust. It had created it, and now they feared the Queen more than ever. The palace did not sleep. That cycle. Lights flickered across the spires. Guards moved faster than usual. Whispers traveled through halls that had never known doubt. Queen Zyra stood alone on her balcony, looking at the stars. The bond had ended hours ago, but its effect had not. She could still feel echoes of the human's mind, not his memories. His choices. He had not tried to dominate her thoughts. He had not hidden his fear. He had stood honestly. That frightened her more than any enemy fleet. Ethan woke in a medical chamber. Soft white light surrounded him. Machines hummed quietly. His body felt heavy, but alive. So he survived. An alien healer noticed his eyes open. The Queen ordered your survival, it said. Ethan sat up slowly. That sounds like I almost didn't. The healer hesitated. The Council is unhappy. That was not surprising. What surprised Ethan was what came next. The Queen has delayed judgment, the healer continued. This has never happened. Ethan leaned back. Delay meant doubt, and empires was dangerous. In the High Council chamber, anger burned openly. She has changed, Counselor Varek said. The human is inside her thoughts. She allowed weakness, another replied. No, Varek snapped. She allowed choice. The words sounded like poison in their mouths. Our empire is built on certainty, Varek continued. On control. He looked around the room. If she rules by doubt, she must be removed. Silence followed. Then, slow agreement. Queen Zyra felt the shift before anyone told her. The palace systems hesitated at her commands. Security paths rerouted. Doors opened a moment too late. The Council was testing her authority. They believed the bond had weakened her. They were wrong, but even a queen could not fight her empire alone. She needed something new. Something unpredictable. She needed a human. Ethan was brought before her again, not in chains, but under watch. The throne room felt colder than before. Do you regret your choice? The Queen asked. Ethan met her gaze. No, he said honestly. Do you? The question hung in the air. I was taught that control keeps us safe, she replied. You showed me something else, Ethan nodded. Control breaks eventually. Choice lasts longer. A dangerous truth. An alarm cut through the moment. Red light flooded the hall. Council override initiated. NAI announced. Authority challenged. Guards rushed in. Not to protect the Queen. To surround her. Varek's voice echoed through the chamber. Queen Zyra, he declared, you are unfit to rule. Step down. Ethan moved instantly, stepping in front of her. The guards aimed at him. Do not, the Queen said sharply. They froze. That single word still carried power. For now. Varek's image appeared above them. You would defend a human over your own kind? He sneered. Zyra's voice was calm. He stood for his people without force. That is strength. Strength is obedience, Varek replied. Ethan spoke before thinking. No, he said. Strength is standing when you can walk away. Silence followed. Some guards shifted, just slightly. The Queen noticed. So did Varek. You see? Varek said quickly. He poisons loyalty. Zyra raised her hand. The ritual is ended, she announced. The verdict will come later. Varek smiled. That is not your decision anymore. The floor beneath the throne cracked. Power systems dimmed. The council was ready to take the palace. Ethan leaned toward the queen. "Say the word," he whispered, "and I will leave. Earth will survive another way." Zira looked at him. For the first time, a ruler considered trust over control. "No," she said. She stood tall, unshaken. "If my empire falls," she declared, "it will fall knowing I chose truth." The guards hesitated. Some lowered their weapons. Others did not, and in that moment, the empire split, not by war, by belief. Far beyond the palace, fleets began to move, not toward Earth, toward the throne. The attack did not begin with noise. It began with silence. Palace lights dimmed one by one. Security systems paused, then restarted under new control. Corridors that once obeyed the queen now answered someone else. Counselor Vurek had made his move. Queen Zira felt it instantly. The throne room shields weakened. The air felt wrong, heavy with hidden danger. She stood still, her mind calm, her body ready. Ethan noticed it too. Years of war had taught him one thing. When silence comes suddenly, violence follows. "Your guards," he said quietly. "They're not all yours anymore." Zira did not look surprised. "I know," she replied. That scared Ethan more than panic ever could. The first shot came from the shadows. Pulse beam tore through the air, aimed straight at the queen's chest. Ethan moved without thinking. He stepped forward and pushed her aside. The beam grazed his shoulder and burned into the floor behind him. Pain exploded through his arm. Guards shouted. Weapons activated. Chaos filled the hall. Zira turned sharply. "Human, I'm fine," Ethan said through clenched teeth. "Focus." She stared at him. He had no armor, no duty to her empire. Yet had stepped into death without hesitation. The attackers revealed themselves, elite guards wearing council marks, not rebels, not outsiders. Family. Double quotes. "This is your last chance, Zira." Varek's voice echoed through the hall. "Step down." Zira's eyes burned. "You tried to kill your queen," she said coldly. "You weakened yourself." "First," Varek replied, "by trusting him." Another shot fired. This time Zira raised her hand. The beam froze in midair. Her power surged, cracking the floor beneath her feet. The guards hesitated. She could destroy them all. But she didn't. Not yet. Ethan grabbed a fallen weapon and rolled behind cover. His shoulders screamed in pain, but his mind stayed clear. "This is not just about you," he shouted to Zira. "This is a message to everyone watching." She understood. If she ruled by force now, she would prove Varek right. If she fell, the empire would burn. She needed another answer. "Stand down." Zira commanded the guards. Some did. Others did not. Varek laughed. "See? Even now you hesitate." "Yes," she replied. "Because I choose." That word again. Choice. More guards rushed in. The throne room became a battlefield. Ethan fought like a human, always had, not stronger, not faster, but smarter. He covered retreat paths, pulled wounded guards to safety, protected anyone who stopped fighting. Alien soldiers watched him in shock. He could run, but he stayed. A heavy blast knocked Ethan off his feet. He crashed near the base of the throne. His vision blurred. Zira moved instantly, placing herself in front of him. "You will not die here," she said. Ethan laughed weakly. "That's my line." She glanced down at him. "Why?" She asked quietly. "Why protect me?" Ethan looked up at the queen. "Because," he said, "you didn't force me." That answer hit harder than any weapon. The room fell strangely quiet. Guards on both sides paused. They had seen loyalty before, but never this kind. Not fear-based, not commanded. Chosen. Varek single quotes. His voice returned, sharp and angry. "End this now," he ordered. "Fire." No one moved. Not a single guard obeyed. Varek's image flickered. "What are you waiting for?" He screamed. Zira stood tall. "You taught them obedience," she said. "He showed them loyalty." She raised her voice so all could hear. "This human stood for me when he owed me nothing." She looked at the guards. "Would your council do the same?" Weapons lowered. One by one. Alarms changed tone. Council systems lost control. Varek's image shattered into static. He had failed. But this was not victory. Not yet. Medical teams rushed in. Ethan was lifted carefully. Zira walked beside him. "The council will not stop," Ethan warned. "They'll regroup." "I know," she replied. She looked at him, her voice low. "They will come for Earth next." Ethan met her eyes. "Then they'll learn something," he said. "What?" "That humans don't back away," he replied. "And neither do queens who choose truth." Zira straightened. A decision formed in her mind. This was no longer about survival. It was about the future, and somewhere beyond the palace walls, fleets were preparing to move. The alien fleets did not head toward Earth with anger. They moved with certainty. Thousands of ships formed perfect lines in deep space, their engines glowing like cold stars. This was not a war formation. It was an execution. The council had decided. Earth was a risk, and risks were erased. On Earth, alarms echoed across command centers, screens filled with impossible numbers. "They're not attacking yet," a general said. "They're waiting." Waiting was worse. Waiting meant judgment. Queen Zira stood in the command spire of her flagship, watching the fleets assemble. "They mean to scare humanity into surrender," she said. Ethan stood beside her, his injured arms still wrapped, his face calm. "They don't understand humans," he replied. Zira looked at him. "Explain." "If they wanted to save us," Ethan said, "they would speak. If they wanted to destroy us, they would fire." He met her eyes. "They want us to kneel." The council broadcast came without warning. Counselor Varek appeared on every channel, his image sharp and confident. "People of Earth," he said, "your representative corrupted our queen. His actions endangered the balance of the galaxy." Zira's jaw tightened. Varek continued, "Surrender him. Withdraw from interstellar contact. Accept observation." His eyes hardened, "Or be erased." Silence followed the broadcast. On Earth, leaders looked at Ethan through the live feed. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Some waited for him to speak. Ethan stepped forward. "Open all channels," he said. Zira hesitated. "If you speak, they may target you directly." Ethan nodded. "They already have." She allowed it. Across the stars, a new signal spread. Not a threat, not a plea. A human broadcast. Ethan stood alone before the camera. No shields. One officer whispered, "No weapons." Another said. Xy watched closely. "My name is Ethan Cole," he began. "I speak for myself." He paused. Earth was told to kneel, to surrender one man to survive. He looked straight into the lens. "We refuse." Gasps filled command rooms across Earth. Ethan continued, voice steady. "Not because we are strong. Not because we think we can win." He took a breath. "But because loyalty that is forced is not loyalty." Zira felt it again, that human truth. Varek laughed over an open channel. "Then you choose extinction," he said. Ethan nodded once. "Maybe," he replied, "but not shame." Then something unexpected happened. Ethan turned slightly. "Queen Zira," he said, "you owe us nothing." Zira stiffened. "If protecting Earth costs your throne," Ethan continued, "we accept whatever choice you make." The bridge went silent. Every alien officer watched their queen. This was the moment. Queen Zira stepped forward. "For centuries," she said, "my people ruled through control." Her voice carried across the fleets. "We believed fear created loyalty." She looked toward Varek's image. "We were wrong." Varek snarled. "You would throw away an empire for one species?" Zira's eyes burned. No, she said. I would rebuild it. She raised her hand. All royal fleets shifted position. Not toward Earth. Between Earth and the Council forces. Shock rippled through space. The ARREC shouted. You defy the Council. I am the Crown, Zira replied calmly. And I choose. The Council fleets hesitated. They had expected surrender. Or war. Not resistance led by their own queen. Ethan watched in disbelief. You just started a civil war, he said quietly. Zira nodded. Yes. She looked at him. And you started a revolution. On Earth, people watched alien ships form a shield around their planet. Not as masters. As allies. Human. Networks exploded with disbelief. Hope spread faster than fear ever had. Varrok's voice returned, low and dangerous. If you stand with them, he warned Zira, you fall with them. Zira answered without hesitation. Then I fall standing. Weapons powered up across space. This time. Real war was close, but something had changed. Alien pilots watched. Humans refused to kneel. Human soldiers watched a queen risk everything for choice. Fear began to crack. Belief took its place. Ethan exhaled. Slowly. This is bigger than us now, he said. Zira nodded. Yes, she replied. The galaxy is watching. She looked toward the stars ahead, and it will learn something new. As fleets locked into battle positions, one truth echoed across every channel, every world. Humans did not ask to be saved, and a queen had chosen not to rule through fear. The final decision was coming, not just about Earth, but about the future of loyalty itself. The first shot was never fired. That alone changed history. Two massive fleets faced each other in deep space, royal ships protecting Earth, and Council ships ready to destroy it. Weapons were charged. Time itself felt frozen. Every pilot waited for the order. Queen Zira stood on the bridge of her flagship, calm and still. Her hands were steady, but her heart was not. Across the void, Counselor Varrok watched from his command ship. You hesitate, he said over the open channel. That is weakness. No, Zira replied. That is restraint. Varrok laughed. Then you have already lost. On Earth, billions watched the sky. They could not see the fleets, but they felt them. Parents held children. Soldiers waited. Cities stood silent. Humanity had no power here, only dignity. Ethan stood beside Zira, his face pale but focused. This ends one way or another, he said. Zira nodded. Yes, she looked at him. If I fall today, my empire will call me a traitor. Ethan met her eyes. History calls people like that pioneers. That word stayed with her. Varrok's voice cut in again. This is your final warning, he said. Withdraw your ships. Hand over the human, or we fire. Zira did not answer right away. Instead, she opened a new channel. To everyone. Every fleet. Every world. Every species under her empire. I am Queen Zira, she said. Her voice carried no fear. For centuries, we ruled through fear and ritual. We demanded proof of loyalty. She paused, and we confused obedience with trust. Murmurs spread across alien channels. She continued. This human, she said, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder, was given a choice. She looked directly at Varrok's image. He could have saved his world by surrendering himself. Varrok smiled, and yet he stands there. Yes, Zira said. Because he was never loyal to me. That confused many. He was loyal to his people, she continued. And still, he stood for truth. Her voice grew stronger. That is not weakness. That is courage. Varrok's smile vanished. You would end our traditions for this? He demanded. Zira's eyes hardened. No, she said. Your traditions ended long ago. She raised her hand. The loyalty ritual is abolished. Shock exploded across alien networks. Varrok shouted. You cannot. I can, she said. Calmly. And I do. The council fleets stirred. Some powered weapons higher. Others hesitated. Pilots remembered their own doubts, their own fears, their own choices. Never given. Ethan stepped forward. He was not a ruler, not a hero, just a human. My people were told to kneel, he said. We didn't. His voice was simple, honest. We didn't attack. We didn't beg. He looked at the fleets. We just stood. Silence followed. Then, something no one expected. One council ship powered down its weapons. Then another. Then dozens more. Varrock shouted in rage. You will doom us all. No, Zyra replied. You already did. She gave the final order. Counselor Varrock is relieved of command. Royal ships moved instantly. Varrock's vessel was surrounded. His voice cut off. Mid-sentence. The war ended without a single shot. On Earth, people cried. Not from fear, from relief. From pride. Humanity had not been saved. That had been respected. Days later, in a quiet chamber overlooking space, Ethan prepared to leave. A ship waited to take him home. Queen Zyra stood with him. The galaxy will change, she said. Not all will accept it. Ethan smiled slightly. They never do at first. She hesitated. You were never loyal to me, she said again. Ethan shook his head. I was loyal to an idea. She nodded. So was I. She extended her hand, not as a ruler. As an equal. Ethan took it. As his ship departed, Zyra looked out at the stars. Her empire was smaller now, but stronger, built not on fear, but on choice. And across the galaxy, a new truth spread. Loyalty cannot be demanded. It can only be given. Humanity had taught the stars that lesson, and the stars would never forget.